So all crews out on the water now. Here is the start list. We have 18 crews lining up. We see Hungary 01, Italy 06, Germany 03, USA 1, Monaco 2, Italy 03, Germany 01, Netherlands 01, Italy 2, Ukraine 1. Ukraine, of course, winning their heat earlier. Italy 2 won the other heat. So there was incredibly fast times earlier, and I'm delighted to be joined by David Hussey again. So you were with me earlier during the heats here, where we had amazing times in the heats of the men's Coxed quads.
Yeah, so I was just we're just talking about it this morning about crews seem to be treating it as a final and rowing really hard in those heats, but you can see the reasoning behind it because for people as fit as them, it was to put down a marker to the other crews, but also they knew that they would easily recover in time for the final, which is about to go ahead now. And also the final is a 4K instead of a 6. And I was just out there coxing in the women's quad race, and there was no such thing as settle down into a steady pace. It was basically a sprint to the first marker because you had to, otherwise you couldn't get yourself into a position at the first and second marks. So I would be predicting that the men's quad will be something similar. I think all of these crews know who's who and what's ahead of them, and they are all going to be fighting off that start line to get that vital first or second place. I think they'll all be pushing it right up as far as the line, as close as they can, without breaking it. Obviously there's a 2-minute penalty involved there, but you can see there already as they're starting to line up, and we've got maybe a bit of time left to go, but they're really pushing it as hard as they can up to that line.
Yeah, obviously the quads are so big, when you have the singles up there you have quite a bit of space around you, but with the quads you're really tucked up right next to each other, and we can see a couple of them are kind of going a little bit sideways. We saw that in the men's solo race as well, just to get your space and to stick there. But you can see there in the middle of the field there's a couple of boats right on top of each other. You do not want to be starting in that position because it will cost you all important seconds.
Yeah, I think if you do clash in the start when boats are going at their highest speed, you're going to drop 5-6 lengths. So usually the best policy in the start is don't be too close to either end if you can help it, but pull up in your slot where you'd like to be and just sit there, and just, people generally move away from you, whereas if you're moving all over the place it's kind of difficult to get a slot. And we can see a kind of a line of boats in the middle who are pretty settled and they're going nowhere, but there's a couple of boats at the back who are trying to get a bit of room, and we can see there another quad right close to that outside mark as well, which is it's okay if you don't hit it, but if you do you're going to be dropped in the start, as what happened in the heat earlier today.
Absolutely. Now, you coxed the women's quad final just a little while ago. So how did you approach the start? Were you right up at the line at the time, or did you hang back?
No, I was within a couple of feet of the line. I took a bit of a chance, to be honest about it, but I thought it was worth the risk because the pace of the start was hectic. There was we were out with Poland and with the Netherlands, who were first and second, so we had a really good start, but you could really see the power of the Olympians coming through after 500-600 metres. But we're happy enough with our performance in the quad. But like I said at the start, I'd say our bows was probably touching the start line. It's risky, but it's very important not to end up back in the pack at the start. So I think you'll see a lot of these boats now will be watching each other and pushing up.
Absolutely. So we're into the final 2 minutes now. So yeah, we can see the two balls there. So one is going to be dropped very soon for the final minute. So they're all keeping a close eye on that. So with the starting sequence, we have 3 balls in the air and 3 hooters, and they drop one every minute. So it looks like, I'm not sure if it's stuck. They tried to drop it. But we're still within the 2 minutes here now. Now, conditions obviously was very flat this morning. It did get quite a bit rougher, we'll say. We thought it was going to be a bit flatter for the day. So how was it when you were out there? There seemed to be a lot of washes coming in from various boats.
Yeah, there is. Conditions are perfect for coastal rowing. There's a nice rolling swell, but like you say, if you're not at the front, then you have to have the boats there for the safety and the umpires and the TV and all that kind of stuff. So you do get a bit of wash, but generally, if you're up pretty good at the front, you should be okay. It'll be interesting to see now. The start is going to be everything here. You've got some really powerful crews lined up on this. You've got, as we said, Germany earlier, Italy, Netherlands. There's a lot of horsepower in these crews, and they will be trying to get themselves out. So I think everybody has found their slot at the moment anyway. I don't think anybody seems to be tight. Everybody seems to be happy enough with their position. So I think we'll get a good clean start in this one by the looks of it.
By the looks of it, is yeah, but you can see the bows how they're kind of angled different. You know, some are angled more towards the shore, more are angled out into the wind and the waves a little bit. So as soon as those crews take their first few strokes, we'll see what happens. A few there in the middle, getting very close to that line, but they are off now, and we'll see if anyone crossed that start line and got a little timed penalty for themselves. But everyone is off there. Did it look close to you there?
I think that was very tight. Spain 5 took a chance. Now if it works, it's fantastic. They've already got a length clear, but they really took a chance on it. But you know, if you take a chance and it works, you're out in front in the World Championship final, so it's working well for them. I think that looks like Italy beside us here. All Italian crews are always performing very highly at these events over the years, but we can see now that the field has already opened up to maybe 4 to 5 lengths already, and we only have 20-30 strokes pulled, so that tells you everybody was going hot and heavy at it at the start to try and get that all-important advantage. And if Spain's approach has worked and they haven't broken the line, I think they're in a really good position at the moment at the head of the field.
Absolutely, yeah. Of course, if they did break it, that's a 2-minute time penalty, so they're going to have to sit out on the water towards the end of the race in the penalty box, but we'll see what happens. But they now leading it out. Then we have lots of Italian crews at the moment. It is Italy 02. They won their heat earlier, so they had that super fast time of 15 minutes 36. I'm not sure will the race today be as quick, the final, just simply because the conditions are slightly rougher than what they were, a little bit more challenging conditions, but it is a final after all, so we may not have seen the best out of those crews earlier, so it's going to be super fast. But yes, Spain 05 now leading it out from Italy 03, Netherlands 1, then back in third position.
Yeah, so the Coxed have all got their lines anyway. You can see there now there's nobody is moving too much from side to side. They've all got their line and they're all quite happy. Spain now have got a lot of company there on the inside. There's 3 boats fighting each other for that slot, so they're starting to creep up on Spain. It looks like Italy, who are our fast crew from this morning, Italy 2 and Italy 3, and also Netherlands as well, with that Olympic power that we spoke about earlier as well too. So there's going to be an unmerciful amount of pressure coming on the Spanish crew now, who have got that advantage in the start to try and hold off these elite crews that are inside them. So we can see on the screen there now, it looks like the Ukraine seems to have joined the fray as well too. So there's another very powerful crew as well adding to the mix at the front.
Absolutely, yes. The crew from Central Sports Club of the Army of Ukraine there, they won their heat as well with a time of 15:59, so a very impressive time from them as well. So they're moving up into that leading pack here now. So we're about halfway down the first leg of this course. It's about 1,300 metres. Ukraine, it's going back and forth between Ukraine and Spain 5, Italy 3, Netherlands 01. So many of these rowers have been out already today, have had their heats, and here they are now doing multiple finals. We're seeing that across the board over the last few races. So surely it's taking a little bit out of them at this stage.
I think it might be, but one thing's for definite anyway. Ukraine have decided to make a massive push just there and try and get out on the Spanish crew, and I think they've got their bows out in front. They have. So I think that was a very important move by the Ukrainian crew just there at that point, because you can see the gap between the boats has really closed up together. So I think advantage at the moment is definitely with Ukraine, due to the fact that they have that rounding line at the first mark. It's not very tight of a rounding at the first one. The second one is, but now the boats are really closing up together on top of each other, and we can see there's about a line of 5, and behind that we've got a line of 3 and a line of 3. So we saw excellent navigation this morning on that first mark, so I think we'll see more of the same on this one here, because it's not a sharp a turn as the second one.
Yes, we're 1 kilometre down into this 4-kilometre race. It is Ukraine just holding off the challenge from Spain 05 and Netherlands 01. There Italy 03, Italy 04. It's going back and forth between all of them here now. Their positions keep changing. Ukraine, as you said, it's important to try and put on a bit of a push here now, just so you're not getting squeezed at that turning marker.
Yeah, so the turning mark is coming up pretty quickly now. We see we're at 1,100 metres, so I think we're not too far away from it. But Italy have done fantastic work in the navigation to take the position they have. So I think that the crew can sense that as well too, and then they're wondering what's going on. So you absolutely have to think ahead, maybe 50, 100 metres ahead, and make sure that your line is correct. So we saw the Italian Cox getting the line right before even getting at the mark, and then taking that inside line. Now Ukraine are pushing as hard as they can to get in front, but all Italy have to do realistically here is they don't have to try and get a length ahead of Ukraine. All they have to do is just stay there. So I think the Italian Coxed is saying to his crew, whatever you do, just keep me here and keep that overlap, that all-important overlap present. And the second mark, which is a very tight mark, will work in their favour. We see a slight bit of oversteering on the inside on the back markers there, maybe 9, 10, 12. But in general, Ukraine and Italy, but Italy definitely have a huge advantage coming to this mark if things stay the way they are.
Absolutely. So yes, Ukraine now just ever so slightly in the lead of Italy 0-2. Then it is Spain 0-5 in third position, back to the reigning world champions. Then they're back the field. Not sure will they be a bit disappointed, but things are getting very close here. We're seeing the boats here, and this Cox is really having to oversteer to try and stay out of trouble.
Yeah, I think what's happening at the back markers then are getting an awful lot of wash. So you can see really good crews, like for example Germany won, USA won. These crews, they're now back a bit and they're getting all that wash, which makes it very difficult to row and get a clean line at it. But up front the action is still between Ukraine and Italy, two very matched crews in terms of speed. And like you say, you have got Italy 3, Italy 4. There's a lot of very strong crews from Italy here today in this very competitive quad race. So this mark is going to really decide, I think, who's going to take the gold medal position. Ukraine are doing everything they can to get away from that overlap position, but if they can't get away from the overlap, they're going to have to round outside. And I think the Italian Cox is definitely demanding, I need at least 1 metre of an overlap, that's all. So all he has got to do is maintain his overlap it's about 100 metres at that second mark. So we'll see how this develops now. 3 and 4, also it's Italy 3 and Spain, our leaders from early on, is going to be a very tight battle with them as well at the second mark.
Absolutely. And then fifth position there, we're seeing the crew from Jersey Rowing Club representing Great Britain. They're currently in fifth position. They're having a nice little battle with sixth place, which is Italy 0-4. Then Netherlands 0-1. I probably would have expected them to be a little bit further up the field with the pedigree that is in that boat. But Ukraine were so strong in their heat earlier. Italy 0-3. We're coming up towards this turn here now. Things I'm sure are going to get exciting. This is the point where people start to hold their breaths, I think.
Yeah, I think Ukraine have just tried to move in on top of Italy there. If there's no overlap, I think they're okay, but if there is overlap, the umpires will be having a really close look at that now, because it's touch and go on the overlap whether they had or not. So I think Ukraine might have just done enough to get clear, but Italy held ahead and got that inside line and did very well. So Ukraine worked really hard on that mark, but Italy responded. So both Coxes are doing fantastic work there, one trying to take the lead and one trying to stop the other taking the lead.
This is brilliant. I think it's nice for the rowers in the quads. It takes the pressure off them having to look around, because we saw in the last few races there in the singles and doubles, because of the tricky conditions, rowers were looking over their shoulders every second stroke to make sure they weren't being pushed. At least that pressure is taken off you in a quad. So the Cox is so important. But everyone, that's actually a really nice clean turn for what I thought was going to happen at it.
It was brilliant navigating by all of them. And like you say, I think Netherlands, like we said, had a very strong showing earlier today, but it's just so difficult when you're back in that third or fourth position, because you have to adjust your line as you're coming into the marks. But in fairness to all the Coxes at the boys, they've done really well. And again, Italy too, our old friends from this morning, they have got themselves on the inside line for that third mark now. But Italy and Ukraine are very equally matched here. You just could not pick one from the other. I think maybe if Ukraine are able to make a big push here and just take the lead, there's a chance that they can take the lead from Italy before the next mark.
Then in that third position, it's Spain 0-5 who've moved themselves back into a medal contention position here, just pushing away from Italy 0-3 at the moment. Great Britain still holding on to that fifth position, but if you look at the metre distance between them there now, those top four now really going for it and pulling away from the rest of the field. Ukraine, Italy, there's a big battle here now before they try and get to the chicane. They're really trying to, get there first, aren't they?
Yes, Ukraine just have to get rid of that overlap to make it work at the turn, and Italy know they have to hang on to the overlap to prevent Ukraine from coming across in front of them. So it's a fantastic battle. I think Ukraine definitely have the power, but if they can get themselves clear at this mark, I think they're putting themselves in a very good position then for the next mark, which is rounding on the other side. So now they take the advantage. So we see, can Ukraine get around and hold the inside line for the next mark? And I think they've done very well. The Ukrainian Cox has done a fantastic job on that rounding. and now Ukraine are in pole position for the opposite side of the mark.
Exactly, expert navigating around that marker. Italy 2, then still in a second. Spain and Italy 3, though there is overlap, and the reigning champions Italy 1 here after moving themselves ahead of Great Britain for that 5th position. Italy 4 then in 7th. We have Netherlands then back in 8. Looking at the speeds here now, Ukraine and Italy 2 evenly matched. Obviously the speeds keep changing depending on what position they are on the wave, but Ukraine now are in a really great position, as you said. Here they are around the next marker.
Yeah, nice clean turns by both of them, and I think Ukraine, we saw Ukraine, I think it was in Oeiras in Portugal the last time they were on the water, and they won that by lengths upon lengths. They were easily the strongest crew in the water, but you can see they still have that power, and now they're starting to pull away from Italy too. I think they know now that they're in control of the race, and all they have to do is keep the rowing as long as possible and use that long levering power that they have to stretch their lead away and keep the boat running between the marks.
Yeah, just 1,200 metres now to go. So we have a few chicanes to come. Italy 2 trying to challenge them here now, keeping a really quick stroke rate here. Spain 5 still in touching distance here though as well. Currently in bronze medal position. Italy 3 pushing on here now as well. They're moving themselves into that bronze position. Look at Italy 1 and 4 as well coming up. Could it be 4 Italian crews in a row?
It's incredible by the Italian team to be able to do this. I mean, when you see the crews that are back in 8th, you have Netherlands are back as far as 8th, and the German crew are extremely powerful as well, are back in 10th and 11th. So the Italian team has decided to make this men's quad race their own here today, and Italy too haven't passed up on the gold medal either. They're attacking Ukraine every chance they get.
Yes, they are indeed. And look at this from Italy 3, though they've come up right alongside Italy 2. This is going to be a tight one here for the two Italians. Ukraine now just starting to pull away, opening up that clear water.
I think that Italy 2 are trying to hold off Italy 3 now. I think that's the problem they have. And like you say, Spain 5, who are the early leaders of the race, they're not going away either. They think that they can get on the podium as well. So they're really holding on to their position as well. But Ukraine are really rowing long, rowing strong, very powerful crew. So I think they're just doing enough to stay ahead at the moment. And Italy 2, Italy 3, then there's a very interesting battle for silver and bronze between these two crews after that last mark. It's opened up a little bit for them.
Absolutely, and it's funny, we've seen it in the last few races in the women's double. There was two crews from Netherlands going head to head. In the men's solo as well, there was two crews from Italy going head to head, and here we have it again, two Italian crews fighting out for silver and bronze, and this push from them, that means they are pushing up on Ukraine now as well. So I would not write either of these Italian crews off for the gold medal right now.
I would agree. I'd say Italy 3, we're wondering where's all the power coming from, but inside the boat we have Simone Martini, world champion, and also we have from the Olympics as well, Pietro Ruta. So there's two Olympians there, two very powerful athletes as well. So it's no surprise that Italy 3 are coming through really strong in the second part of the race here, and they're challenging Italy 2. It looks like that if they have the inside line on this mark, they may be able to take Italy 2 on the inside here. But I think Ukraine have sensed the danger of Italy 2 and Italy 3, who are racing each other, and they've decided to push as hard as they can to get clear of this battle for silver and bronze behind them.
Yes, they're going to have to push hard. We're coming into the final 500 metres. Here we go around the next marker.
Slight error by Italy 3, and now the door's open for our early leader Spain 5, if they can take advantage of that little gap just there.
Disaster.
And I think they can. I think Spain 5 have just taken advantage of that. And Italy 2 and Italy 3 are all tangled up.
Oh, disaster.
And now there's a sense of a bronze medal coming for whoever can get through that gap. There's a little gap there.
Netherlands are going to actually come up. It looks like it was the three Italian crews that got into that battle, and it's now Netherlands who've moved themselves into third position. They were completely out of the medal contention there a while ago.
Yes, and when you're Coxed in there, the positions you just love to be in, when you can just see a gap like that and change everything. And I think gold is still gold, but silver and bronze, there's been huge changes there. Netherlands have came from nowhere to take that bronze medal position.
They were back in 8th position just there a while ago, and here they are now in a bronze medal position. we were saying Italy, the two Italian crews were 2 and 3, were potentially coming for Ukraine for a gold medal, and now they're gone back to 8th and 9th position.
Yes, and Ukraine will be so happy to see that happening behind them, because now they can relax and enjoy their last 500 metres coming home. So they're quite happy with that now. They're totally relaxed now, rowing home. They know the gold medal is theirs. And Spain 5, after their early start, we hope that it worked for them. So
we haven't seen them go into the penalty box yet.
yeah, so if they're not in the penalty box, they're definitely on the podium as one or the other. So hopefully it worked for them, and it just tells you in the start of the race, when you take a chance, it works. And there they are. They came from, I think it was 4th, but they had to be up there to be in a position to take advantage of the slight clash there at the second last mark. And Netherlands had the power to get through that gap.
That was super coxing there from Netherlands. But here we have Ukraine coming in, dominating this field. Had some great battles with Italy, but it is Ukraine coming in the coastal men's Coxed quadruple sculls. Spain 04, so lucky there. They really took advantage of what happened at that
And Netherlands
turn.
are just coming for the line, but there's absolutely ferocious pressure coming on them to get over the line from Italy 1.
The reigning champions also came out of nowhere.
Yes. What a performance, especially the Netherlands Cox, Duca Fetter, like we spoke about earlier. Real character, really epitomises the spirit of coastal rowing, but she got one chance to get on the podium and she took it, and there was no turning back after that.
There was no turning back. Italy 1 did do all their best to get up there. Great Britain holding on to their 5th position. Italy 4 in 6th. Germany 2 and 7th. Unfortunate Italy 3 back in 8th position after what a race they had up to that point. Italy 2 as well, so unfortunate.
I see Great Britain 1 will be very happy to have moved up into a solid 5th position as well too after that. They challenged well early on and they had to come again. But rarely do you see silver and bronze medals being contested with 500 metres to go. I think that is the Netherlands absolutely delighted to come from nowhere to the podium, and they've been walking around the boat for the last 5 minutes celebrating. So brilliant performance, and so deserved to take advantage of that situation. But very hard for Italy 2 and 3 though. But, after rowing so well and racing so well, to have that little collision to happen.
Yeah, we can see the passion there out of the rowers here. I'd say one of them is missing an oar. So they lost an oar there in that collision.
Yeah, that's part of the racing. Unfortunately, there's winners and losers out of these collisions. But that was exceptional to see that happen in the second last turn of the day.
Absolutely. We've seen some incredible finishes in the last few finals there to really come all the way down to the finish line, which is what we expect at a World Rowing Coastal Championships. Spain 01 there we're seeing on our screen. We can see some of them disappointed, some of them still celebrating out there. That's always the way. But to make an A final, I've been saying it, we always concentrate on those making the podium, but to make an A final at the World Championships is just an incredible
just to be in the A final, like you say, just to be in the company of all these world-class athletes, all these Olympians, is an achievement in itself. And Spain 5, for example, their race tactic was, we're going to push this as far as we can to the start, take a chance, get out in front. They got out in front, all right, and then of course the power of the Olympic crews were able to get past a bit, but they still were in a position to capitalise, which is so important. If boats collide with each other, you just have to be within a couple of lengths to take advantage of that. And we spoke about the time, that it mightn't be as fast as this morning. It's 16 minutes we see as the time, which is super fast for a quad race.
It is incredibly fast, about 20 seconds slower, 25 seconds slower than the heats earlier, but incredibly fast all the same, because obviously conditions are a little bit different from earlier. But congratulations there to all crews.